What's happening, beautiful people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to something new that we're going to try here today, the G2 Community Spotlight. For those of you not new to the G2 community, you know that really what we're built on the most is the people that we surround ourselves with, the people that we love, the people that get to come hang out with us. It is a massive honor to do this one. I guess technically you would be the second because we had the great conversation with Mr. Wiggs, but the G2 Community Spotlight, Mr. Richard DeVito, the Italian Stallion. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me, brother. How are you today?
How we doing, Mr. Mullins? I
Man,
gotta
we're
say,
living the dream here, buddy.
yeah, you're not wrong. Just whose dream, right?
Hey, man. Hey,
It's gonna be a hard act to follow, Mr. Wiggs, too.
well, hey, Wiggs came on. He did awesome. He looked like he was doing other things with his hands, but he did great. He did great.
Yeah, I have this cut off at a perfect height right now, so we're good.
We want to talk about throwers, though. I feel like that's probably the most important thing. We want to talk about the yo-yoers that make our community. And I kind of felt like you just had an interesting story to tell. How long have you been yo-yoing, Mr. DeVito? And where did we all start here, buddy?
Yeah, so it's I think like most kids born in the late '80s, we all had an Imperial in reach, and then we just had an interesting time, right?
Did
Because
you
we
have
had
that glow in the dark Imperial?
no
Well, that might have been a little before your time.
show off. All right, all right. So, I mean, I think like most of us, we found the Omega after Duncan's and the brains and the fireballs and all of that. But it never really stuck. It was just something fun. And then in college, I found a wooden yo-yo at a girlfriend's dad's house. And the next day happened to be in Toys R Us, and I bought a Bumblebee, a Duncan Bumblebee. And in 2.5 days, I'd snapped the axle. I was playing with it nonstop. So bought another one, and I start Googling where can I find a yo-yo, right? And all I'm seeing is Toys R Us, this or that, and then I see a link for Yo-Yo Nation, and I'm like, oh, these guys will know. And these are back in the Stone Age days where you order a package and it took a week and a half, and I'm dying. But I have this plastic grind machine on the way, and she lands. I mean, she's gorgeous. I'm checking the hub stacks out and blowing, making sure they're ready to spin.
Amen.
And because I'm going to let it have a cat's cradle, like a hard one, And I throw the yo-yo down and it doesn't come back to my hand. And I'm like, nope. After a week, I like that's not what I wanted to see. So, like a Karen, I call Yomega up, or excuse me, Yo-Yo Nation, ready to just let them have it. And in like the most condescending way in the world, the guy goes, "Well, have you ever heard of binding?" And I was like, I'm about to learn. And that was it. And then myself and everyone around me yo-yoed for like 3 years, and then life happened, you know, uh, work and this and that and kids. And my oldest son found a box with a bunch of yo-yos and seemed intrigued. So I broke him out thinking this could be a shared hobby. Little did I know that that addiction was just waiting. It was just waiting, was ready for me. And stumbled on the G2 community thanks to throwers and Reddit and a really kind guy named Kyle that I found on Facebook who sold me my first G2 of Valhalla with stainless steel rims. And the rest has been gravy. Like the rest has been, I mean, I'm staring at what is going to be a wall of G2. It's insane.
Yeah, you've definitely you've ran the marathon, Forrest Gump. You know what I mean? But you got to keep running. That's what's beautiful about it.
That's where I'm at now. About
Now, I mean, we got to kind of go back. Yo-Yo Nation, Yo-Yo Nation definitely has a very beautiful history about it, right? I
yeah,
mean, I was a Yo-Yo Nation customer for years. I remember ordering, a peak from there, I believe, or no, a Bear versus Man. I got a Bear versus Man back in the day there, and loved it. Remember my grandma ordering it for me. I remember me calling up there and begging them to ship it a day early, and of course they didn't. But things happen. I was just a kid. I didn't know. I just wanted my stuff shipped early. Still do, Jake.
yes.
but
Thank you.
but I'm just we'll probably got that. We're cutting that. But Yo-Yo Nation, I love the fact that you have a Yo-Yo Nation story. I feel like a lot of people do. And a lot of people that are coming back into the community, they also have Yo-Yo Nation stories.
Right.
They remember being on those forums and, oh man, the wealth of knowledge and the wealth of history that those forums held. I think more specifically, Duncan history. I know they had specific numbers of limited editions and things along those lines, but also tons of people that have unfortunately passed on in our community. They had tutorials on how to do mods and things that would still be very relevant in our community today. So very cool that I think it's super cool that one, you're up there by the New York area, and two, you have that Yo-Yo Nation story. I think most of us do.
Yeah, and if you have any highlights, I know a guy that's interested.
I definitely remember highlights. Boy, I loved them.
They
I remember loving them.
No polyester is that bright. No
No,
polyesters. It's
no.
unbelievable. Those highlights were the most appropriate name. And back then, all the cool black clothing with the block letters,
Oh
the
yeah,
zip ups with the white. Do you
bro.
remember?
We
Just a
were all listening to the same music, listening or using Yo-Yo Nation highlights.
oh yeah, just Ohio is for lovers. Yeah.
Yes. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
So
Days.
G2, you said your first G2 was a Valhalla. What colorway?
So it's Candy Storm is the
Candy Storm.
colorway. Let me grab it.
Sure. All right. So this is the Candy Storm Valhalla.
Yep.
Now, do you know? Now, let's see. Do you know how many was in that run by
I,
chance?
I know so little about it, except that once I touched it, I knew that I'd found what I was looking
Very interesting that your first G2 back, probably one of the most powerful ones, but you say it kind of hooked you.
for. I remember throwing that yo-yo. I had just gotten home. I ordered it. I was on vacation, and my wife and me are still bringing the bags in, and I'm dying. Like this it's arrived, and I open it up, and I remember just feeling it, just feeling the blasting on it, and seeing the way the rim bounced up. When I yo-yoed, um, it was mono metal primarily. I mean, I spent a lot of time with a Dark Magic and a Hitman and things like that,
In there.
but you weren't seeing a whole lot of bimetals, right? And the ones I was seeing, I wasn't super interested in, or I was young, I couldn't afford them. It wasn't there. So when I held this, I was super impressed when I threw it. When I heard the resonance of the yo-yo, when I felt it on the string, and when I felt it return to my hand, it was like nothing I'd ever felt before. And I have a lot of really awesome yo-yos from back in the day, and they're wonderful yo-yos, but they're not a Valhalla. It's
Well,
That's the craziest thing to me too. Like the circle being what it is, and that's something that really blew me away coming back. Like I was in Yo-Yo Nation and the forums, and I was in Yo-Yo Expert forums, and they're awesome places, but they're tremendous. It's like a city, right? When I found the G2 Discord, it was like this little homebrewed community that was just perfect for me to slide into of primarily people my age with similar interests. And the coolest part was that the similar interests are things that our wives don't want to hear about. They don't want to hear about yo-yos. So it's
fair.
awesome finding that little spot to go talk about.
Oh, Discord is wonderful. I
Oh,
mean, if anyone is looking for a home out there in the yo-yo community, you just found it because
yeah.
the Discord, whether you want to, it doesn't matter if you buy yo-yos or not, just come hang out with us. We're a group of adults who love each other and we're always there for each other. That it's mind blowing, really, what the Discord is because the things we learn about people that you just, maybe we wouldn't know if it wasn't for the relationship you build with people and them being willing to give you that information.
Yeah, not just information. It is one of the most generous communities I have ever found. People my favorite yo-yo is obviously the Banshee, and I knew nothing about them and was gifted my first Banshee ever, and it happened to be what is still my favorite of the Banshees, which is the AL7 B22. This is a Haunted Waters colorway, and I can't get enough of it. I mean, and
Yeah.
this is a B grade yo-yo, and it is still, it blew my mind. I mean, now I can fill a 12 pack with just Banshees. I love them. They're, to me, anybody watching, like if it's Dino Nuggets or a Banshee, get the Dino Nuggets. But if there's anything else on the other end of that scale, the Banshee's going to tip it. Buy
Well,
Banshee. Greatest yo-yo.
Banshee is a fantastic yo-yo. That is the best colorway, though.
I mean, I might
One.
argue that now. I might argue that now. I got a couple that might rival this one, but it's a close race.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna get to those. We're gonna get to those. But in my simple-minded opinion, I can't even talk. Appendix, I think is what I just said.
Appendix.
We're gonna cut that too. Haunted Waters is the way to go. A funny story about that yo-yo right there. It was a $30 buy sell trade purchase.
It's a wonderful, wonderful yo-yo.
$30. And if I would have ever known that that was going to start our friendship, I might have gave the guy an extra $10. Is all I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
so I'm glad that the Banshee addiction started. And now you do have what, 9 or 10 Banshees at this point?
Oh, I think a solid dozen.
And you
Actually,
have
I have
some of
another
the
one on the way
most,
too right now.
you have really what, 2 or 3 of the most sought after colorways that there are, right?
I have lucked out. This community and Blind Luck have been tremendously generous to me in the Banshee department.
Bro, I know all about luck in the G2 community, to be honest with you. I came in and was like, y'all, I'm poor. And they were like, welcome.
Yep.
They never said nothing. So I'm very thankful. I know exactly what you mean by you were blessed,
Oh,
because
yeah.
people just, when they decide to move on, they remember those people who hold those colorways special and want to feed them that. Let's see it though. I want to see it. I know what we're talking about with Tori moving on
Oh, yeah.
from this one. And I mean, I know you got another one too that you got directly from Jake that
This one,
I
yeah.
want to see too. And you got a full FOV. That FOV case sat in the back of my car for a couple of weeks.
Dude, this thing is mint.
I know it is.
It arrived and the package was beat, and I was like, "Oh, ruh-roh." And then I opened it up because you text me. You were like, "Oh no, Rich, I don't know how it's gonna be. You're gonna find out for us." And I opened it, and there was, I'll never forget, there was just like a piece of sheet of plastic, something inside it, and I was like, "Oh, it's done." And then I just saw it slide away, and I thought, "Perfect, we're good to go."
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the Tory yo-yo. This one I haven't strung this.
You haven't strung it up yet?
I don't want to know.
Oh wow.
I don't want to know how much I love to see the swirls turn to circles. I don't want to know because I don't want to ruin this for the community.
Is this a B22 or a B18?
This is a B22.
Okay.
Yep, AL6,
606.
1, I believe. Yep, it's gorgeous. I saw this yo-yo when I first joined the community. Blew my mind. I had no idea how sought after swirls were, how difficult they were to come by.
Yeah.
And Tori really came through. Like I can't thank them enough. They reached out, let me know they were looking to consider parting with it, and it was just immediate. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how long are you going to keep my kids in the yard? How long do they have to work?
Hey, we
It's
all
9 to
have a
5.
Tory story, I
Yeah,
promise.
they're reasonable. So, yeah. And then this is the one I got from Jake. This was luck. This was an office sale, and it was just I could not type kaleidoscope fast enough. I don't remember what I actually wrote into the thing, but it wasn't kaleidoscope.
Right.
But yeah, these are the two like of the andonized yo-yos that are just to me my babies. They won't go anywhere.
They're very beautiful pieces.
Thank you. You have a Banshee that I'm obsessed with. So I don't
Which
know
one?
what I don't remember what Dr. Brandon Hines calls it, but I think it was a pack storm, I think is what he said.
Oh, the pack fade.
Yeah, you have a pack Banshee.
Yes. This one.
Oh, yeah, and don't you have a pack Storm Banshee as well?
No. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Be nice, Taco.
Bro, bro, I got too many yo-yos.
I was gonna say, I'm sure there's a pack Storm Banshee. There's no way you don't have it.
Oh Lord. Let me just
Hey, what are you yelling
here
at
it
me
is.
for?
Oh, what's my haunted waters?
My dog's yelling.
This is probably gonna be the way that I found out my son's been in my case. No, here it is. Here it is. I'm good. This is
Oh,
the Pack Storm B22 AL6. I believe it's AL6. This is the Pack Fade AL7
yeah, the pack fade is
B18.
unbelievable. That's an AL7 B18.
I believe this was a pre-order of November of 22, I believe.
Wow, that's pretty. That the
Or
way it's
whenever
so dark.
whenever the decade was pre-ordered, these got
Mm,
pre-ordered as well. This is oh no, it's AL7. Did I say that? My
yeah,
bad. My
you
bad.
did.
So
Wow.
AL7. I love this one. This is a good one. Me and Brady switched this one back and forth before I decided that I'm going to marry it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't believe it.
So, but I wanted to, as I know you haven't been in the G2 community, super long, but a lot of times we hear newer people complain about missing out on drops, things along those lines. What do you think about that? Like, how do you feel about that as a G2?
Yeah. So when I first joined, more than one person reached out to me immediately. Alex Wiggs being one of them, reached out to me immediately. Like I was like, "Hello, and how do I get a yo-yo?" And way more excitement than that. I'm sure there was a ton of exclamation points, probably a couple of used guys. I was really pumped up, and Alex reached out to me and said, "Hey man, the drops are almost impossible. Like the one you're going for right now is going to sell out the second that it launches." And he told me, make sure that he gave me like a step-by-step list. It was such a kind thing to do from somebody I didn't know at all. I mean, again, not to double dip here, but a testament just to what you can expect from the community on the Discord. But he reached out to me and said, "Hey man, make sure that not only are you signed in, that your card is clear, right? In addition to that, make sure that you've signed in another tab to PayPal and that you're ready to go. Everything's refreshed, and then be ready to just start banging F5." And the launch that I came in for was the Arbiter X Brass, the Rainbow Galaxy, the RBG.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it sold out immediately. I
10
don't know how many
seconds.
units there were. 15, 17, something like that.
Yeah, sold
Yeah.
out in 10 seconds. I remember because that was the last time that I was approved to buy a yo-yo. Do you remember me talking to you about this?
I do.
I
I
look at my wife, we're driving down the road. I'm like, can I buy this yo-yo? She's like, of course, go ahead. Sell out 10 seconds later.
if you remember, I called you the second I found out I got it, and I said, "Matt, I'm happy. Let me send you the yo-yo." You remember? And you're like, "No, no, no." And now there's no way I'd part with this thing. Look at
Yeah,
how pretty this camera is. Not doing it justice. The depth, the greens. I mean, I've had been blessed to find a bunch of
beautiful.
RBGs, but this one, I wish this camera would pick it up. The finish on this inside this cup is just mind blowing.
Probably one of the best Rainbow Galaxies he's ever done.
Of the handful or so that I've come across, they've all been beautiful, and they're
Yeah.
all so unique. They're all so different from one another. But that this one is still my favorite. But it's likely because of the sentiment as well. I knew what I had. There's not a dot on this thing. It's been babied the whole time.
Which is crazy though. A 10-second sellout, your first G2 drop, you got one.
But I'll be honest with you also, if you're prepared, if you prioritize a drop and you do those things, um, maybe I've been lucky, and that to state, like I said in the beginning, I feel very blessed with the way drops have gone as well. But drops that I've really wanted, it's been rare that I've missed. I thank good internet connection and
Yeah.
being stateside. I know in the last drop there were some people that weren't stateside that had a more difficult time. Not in the last drop. Maybe that was 2 drops ago. Not the Unicorn Storm. Was that the Fire? Was that the Arbiter?
I'm not sure.
There was one that was tough, but it seems to work out. But the whole Jake says the scaling, like he's right. If you're patient and you're calm with that F5, you usually have some time to get it. It's not usually like the Arbiter. You got a minute and a half. Like
Yeah. The last few drops I have literally I've watched yo-yos just sit there in stock.
for
And
a few minutes.
yeah. And I'm just sitting there
So,
thinking,
yep,
here's your chance, here's your chance, here's your
yep,
chance. And
yep.
then of course, as soon as they sell out, there's of course people are going to be upset if they missed out on it. Totally get it. Totally get it.
Yeah, but you know what I like to think too? Again, like the community is small enough that if there's one you really like, you stick around. Somebody's gonna, to your point, remember you wanted that yo-yo.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and decide maybe it's perfect, maybe they love it, but they want this new one or this different one instead, and they're happy
Right.
to part with that one. So
Well, that's like the one thing that we're pretty much guaranteed in life is that there's going to be another colorway coming, unless it's a retirement run, of
that's
course.
right.
But surely another color is coming, more product is coming, and there's of course different ways to be able to consume it with Patreon and getting on customs list. I really feel like Jake kind of goes above and beyond
That's an interesting thing you bring up. Yeah,
giving people access.
if you're willing to invest on a cadence, like you're gonna get every yo-yo. There's no yo-yo
Yeah,
you're not gonna get. You might not get the specific colorway from a drop, but there's no
right,
experience that G2 offers that you're not gonna have a chance at. And
right,
if it's something that's not gonna come in like for example, the Thai SS or the Thai BR, right? That's something that's never gonna hit the Patreon, but that's something absolutely that we had an opportunity to get, if not an extended opportunity to get simply by being members of the Patreon. So it was there was a ton of information and um, yeah, it's been easy for me. I have a couple of kids. I don't have a ton of time. You know all this. Like I want to support a brand, one specifically. I don't want to have to search around. And I don't know what I'm looking for. I came back to yo-yo thinking I wanted yo-yos only between 52 and 54 millimeters, right? In diameter. Only, right? Roughly 64, 64. Like I thought I knew this better than the engineers that are making it is the point. And as soon as I got that Valhalla, like, and joined the community, Jake goes, "Oh, you want to connect?" I was like, "What? Like what?" Like, and we connect, and I hear about this opportunity for me, right? I'm interested in getting a yo-yo every month, right? And having the shot at the pre-orders and all that. So
yeah,
it's been nice. I mean, look, I have a Jackal in the case. I never would have bought a Jackal. I have so much fun with that little yo-yo, that little
right.
line yo-yo,
Yeah,
the
it
blind face.
exposes you.
Yeah.
Uh, I will say though, something you mentioned for the new people out there possibly watching, the wigs and dabs have came up with that list on pretty much how you need to tackle
Yeah.
your drops. So all the new folks out there, reach out to Wigs, reach out to Dabs a lot, and he will help you. They will help you on how to get a drop. And if you follow those steps, boy, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get a G2 the next few drops.
That's right. Yep.
It's going to happen. You might miss the first one, you might miss the second one. If it's a pack storm on the third one, you're going to miss it because I'm going to get it. But the fourth one, maybe you'll
By
get
all
it.
of them. It's you're a nuisance, man. You're a bit
I
chaotic.
am a nuisance. You
Yeah,
ain't
well,
lying,
the
dog.
back storm.
You ain't lying, brother. But for real though, follow those steps and hook up with Wigs and Dabs because they're good people and they just want to help.
Yeah, and do what I do always, and make sure you message Jake on every platform,
Oh yeah.
and ask him to give you the prettiest one of the batch.
Bro,
Yeah.
I used to message Jake on Facebook.
He only answers me on Facebook. Facebook Messenger. He's got me all
Bro,
day.
you full of shit. You're full of shit. I thought that's how people talked, bro. Down here
Yeah.
in the South, that's how we talk is Facebook Messenger now. We don't have any other forms of communication. Jake's,
Really? You're doing
Jake's like,
pretty
email
well.
me. Jake's like, email me. I'm like, email? What's that?
Yeah, what's that? Emails always feel too formal. I
Do I
think
have
that's
to
what I'm
use
buying.
my minutes for that, or is that
Yeah.
included in nights and weekends?
Yeah. I'm still on a QWERTY.
Yeah.
Remember those old Nokias? Not
Yes.
QWERTYs. You remember what do they call that? Where you had to push it a million times? You always want the letter that's too many in and you just go buy it. You know, you got that speedy thumb and now you got to do it a second time.
I know your name. It just got called for customs.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that is kind of one of the big benefits, right? Of what
The shit or get off the pot moment for me. It was that's a scary moment. I can't pick colors like old Jakey.
well, that's why I just pick my colors and let Jake. I'm just gonna let Jake decide
Yep.
on patterns. Am I gonna regret it? Maybe, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
This has been an awesome opportunity though. The custom list has made it so that, to your point, I came in very late. There's yo-yos that I've missed, and I just haven't found ones that I was in love with in BST.
Yeah.
Now I've been here for 5 months, you know what I mean? So it's not a long search at this point, but with customs, I'm able to order two of those yo-yos exactly the way I'd like.
Yeah. You pick the exact colors you want. I mean, it's
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. I just feel like I know that
Yeah.
I had to unfortunately pass the first time my name got called, and I thought Jake was full of junk. I thought there's no way this list is going to take a year. I'll be dog. Here we are a year later. My name finally on that thing. So
Nah,
thankful.
yeah.
Let's talk about Loadout Tuesday.
Great idea. Loadout Tuesday
What
and
have you thought
a
about
trick
the
of the week.
colors so far?
Loadout Tuesday, the Jaws. That
Yeah, that was
Jaws
a good
colorway
one.
was dirty. That was such a nice yo-yo. And the loadout is just that yo-yo. Like
The
you
goat out.
know, yeah, like I lean Wraith. I tend to compare the two, like whether like they're not the same yo-yo in any way, and they don't play the same or any of that. But they came out at similar times, and I've leaned towards the Wraith for that brick stability. But with that brick stability comes a lot of speed that you have to be able to control, and it's also it that yo-yo is very competitive in the way that it feels. So if you're looking, it's not going to have the same floatiness, the same hollow body feel. The character the loadout has is a character that I think a lot of yo-yos have been trying to point at for a long time, and just haven't hit right. Like I don't want to call any yo-yos out, right? That's not what we're here
I
for. But
can if you want me
yeah,
to.
yeah, no, but you
I'm
don't
just
know.
joking. I'm just joking.
The loadout is that yo-yo.
Absolutely.
It's whatever you want it to be. It's like I remember throwing my first slacks and lacerations with the yo-yo. It was like the yo-yo would just hover. It feels hollow. And the catch zone on it is tremendous. The flat rims feel so good in the hand. I don't know about you, man. I'd love to just sit around just finding a yo-yo too early. Like I'm a dope about it. And my favorite yo is the Banshee. The Banshee will definitely give you nerve damage. You catch a good one
Yeah.
of those. But
You're
the
trying to get
loadout,
arthritis, my friend.
yeah, the loadout though doesn't. The loadout is so gentle on that return. It's like it's nice. It binds super tight, binds that you can't otherwise hit with certain yo-yos. Just seem to really tighten down on the loadout. It's a great yo-yo. Wait,
What?
that Nessie colorway.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Oh, that got me excited. That's a sick yo-yo.
I
I
think
think Brick got one
I
of
think
those.
he's about to blow our minds.
Yeah.
I think I don't think we've even seen the like even the horizon of what's to come.
With colorways.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I mean,
you
it's
never
just
think about color theory in normal life as an adult. Like it's not something I found myself thinking about until customs.
well, you know, I'm color special anyway, so I can't.
Listen, maybe we've all got it wrong, and the way you see the colors is right, and everything is Pacific Storm.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful blue and gold.
Yeah, blue and gold.
Yeah,
So we're pretty happy with that. Boy, to me it doesn't look blue and gold right now. It looks blue and gold. What do you say to the new G2 customer? What do you want to let's say I wake up in the morning, I want to buy a G2. What's your advice?
yeah. Come for the yo-yo, stay for the community.
Hmm.
Like that's what happened with me. Matt, like gave it away there. You gave me that yo-yo, that B-22, and I remember like
I just thought you were sexy, to be honest with you, but now here you are.
an absolute stallion with that mustache.
We
Here's the
didn't
thing.
even talk about these. We're just sitting
Freedom
here
stashes.
rocking the.
Yeah, don't come to
Damn.
G2 if you can't pack a freedom stash. That is the one rule, though. You got to put a freedom stash
Sorry,
in.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Um, yeah, that made me stick around. I mean, it made me understand like this community of adults is going to be very different in the sense that people aren't out being nice people typically, right? They don't go out of their way for it. Matt, you sent me that yo-yo. I met you one time in the meeting, like in the club, if you
Yeah.
remember. And you could see just how excited I was, how eager I was to get my hands on one just to try it out. I heard great things, and yeah, I mean, look, that's I am more likely still here because of that yo-yo than the Valhalla. That's the easiest way I can put it.
Well,
So
I
these things
love
are
you
great.
and I'm thankful
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, that goes two ways, brother. But
And
listen, I love what you're doing with the content, man. I can't say it enough, Matt. Like, I hope you don't cut this out. Like, there's a whole bunch of us hungry to eat it up. There's always going to be people that have their own opinions, but this isn't for them. Like, this is for the rest of us that are just hungry to eat up some Matt Mullins. Just rocking FOV cases, just mini FOV case lunch boxes. Yeah.
hey, I'm thankful for all the help that you and
Oh,
it's crazy all the stuff that we kind of do behind the scenes trying to make it all work.
yep. Yeah, for sure. But
So,
it's on your shoulders once that camera gets turned on, dude, and you do a wonderful job.
well, thank you so much for being my friend, and thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us today. It means a crap ton to me. Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this community spotlight. Richard DeVito, the Italian Stallion. What a guy. What a genius, to be honest with you. So just really thanks, brother.
I'm humbled. You're the man. That mustache, those glasses, it gets me every time. Yeah, that's fair.
Richard, thank you, brother. Thank you for everything, man.
Oh, Matt, thanks for having me, man.
Mucho love, dog.
Goes two ways.